Social media is replacing TV consumption. We saw it all year. Brands are shipping endless episodic content. And this is because social is eating TV's lunch. This has been happening for years. 2025 is just the year that brands notice. But I was doing this in 2023, and this show is an example. The majority of brands, they just create 1 to 5 episode shows. These are almost like limited series that they're publishing on their account. Some brands created social shows, but they don't know how to test, iterate, optimize, and scale these social shows long term. All problems which we're going to address and fix in this video. Because the truth is, if your brand wants to win, then you need to treat your media like a TV network. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 6 elements to be able to take advantage of this in 2026. So we'll kick it off with number 1, the structure of a social show. The center of any show is the reoccurring aspect. You have a reoccurring format, you have a reoccurring theme, you have reoccurring characters. This is what differentiates a piece of content from a show, because a show is centered around forming an expectation, then meeting that expectation over and over again through the reoccurring elements within your show, because all these reoccurring elements is what forms then a consumption habit. That consumption habit is the idea of knowing what you're going to get from a piece of content the second it captures your attention, because of the familiarity in all of their reoccurring aspects, and it's because of expectation setting. That's number 2. And I want to leverage expectation setting to really change your frame of thinking around content. First, you can create an expectation around the value that you're going to provide. That expectation could be around information, education, inspiration, motivation, then forming an expectation on how it's packaged and delivered. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is one of my favorite examples of this. They've amassed nearly 200,000 followers. That's not an easy thing to do. All the elements that make it very bingeable is why it's grown to that success. And the reality is there's an art and science to it. So let me break it down. So first, you have this set where all of the episodes are filmed. You have this quaint, local, artisanal coffee shop in Brooklyn that always takes place at the counter. And at the counter, you have these 2 characters. These are the recurring stars in every episode, right? They are the main characters. And they both have their unique personalities that they bring to the show, and they really play their role to a T.
I'm a girl's girl. You should be an oncologist.
Then there's always one more character, and that character is the customer. This is the person who walks in, places their order, and then the dialogue always happens between the customer and the 2 baristas behind the counter. And this is how the show operates. Every episode is typically 1.5 minutes long to 2 minutes, always delivered in the sitcom/skit format. So when you bring all of these aspects together, you have all of these elements that create an expectation in the viewer's mind. There's not a single time that I'm scrolling my feed where Brooklyn Coffee Shop episode hits my feed and I don't know it's a Brooklyn Coffee Shop episode, or I don't know what I'm going to be getting out of this episode, right? That all has been formed over time because Brooklyn Coffee Shop has met the expectation that they've created in my head over and over again. This is our job here. And they've even nailed this expectation and familiarity down to the hook. I mean, let's just look at the first 3 to 5 seconds of every episode. For Brooklyn Coffee Shop, it always starts with someone walking in like this, or it starts with the baristas doing some kind of action like reading a novel as the customer walks in. So why is expectation setting and familiarity so important to a successful social show? Because in today's landscape, we want someone to see our content and instantly recognize what it is and what they're going to derive from that piece of content. This takes me to point number 3, the show to network shift. Again, 2025, it was the year of social shows. I mean, we could just look at all the examples. Gant, which felt like they were launching social shows month after month, they had a hit called Postcards from Polia, where they had these voiceover letters written from someone as they were traveling through Polia, enjoying the different experiences while they were there.
I think I'll try and stay a while. Sending a piece of Italy back to you.
Then you had the Ritz Paris, which launched Behind the Ritz, which is an episodic series where they had the different butlers and different maids, kind of showcasing how they tailored the different rooms and experiences to be as luxury and detailed as possible. You had Burberry launch the Burberry Weather campaign, which had multiple episodic series built into the campaign. You had one that was centered around a weather report, then another one centered around tourists doing touristy things in London. But here's where the shift's going to occur. All of these series that I just mentioned all live on the brand's main account. The next evolution of this is having your main account, but then having these supporting accounts that are dedicated to successful shows. So then you could imagine your brand as a TV network, publishing, creating, and owning all of this content, all of these different social shows underneath your umbrella. That's the opportunity, and that's the shift. But the reality is there's only a handful of brands doing this right now. I mean, it's still early and we know how long it takes for brands to be able to adapt, but it's also the biggest opportunity because it's this moment of time for brands who want unprecedented and unmatched top of funnel awareness to be able to take advantage of this and start creating all of this IP that they own and distribute underneath their brand's umbrella. And again, there's a handful of brands that are doing this exceptionally well right now. One of the first brands doing it was Imi Eats. They launched a social show called Ramen on the Street, which is a separate TikTok account that feeds their main account. With this, they had an interviewer going around a different park, having a bowl of ramen with a random individual. Over that bowl of ramen, they had a conversation just about life, experiences, all of those things. That's the central idea for the show, but the main thing is it was a separate account, garnering 5, 10, 15 million views every single month. Another example was Kava. They launched a social show called Bowl-Mates, which is almost like a little dating show centered around ordering a Kava bowl. Then you have Built. They launched a show called Roomies. It's almost like a sitcom, very similar to Friends or New Girl, where there was 4 roommates in a New York City apartment. Again, a top of funnel idea, a central social show, all feeding back to the main account. As a brand, this is how we need to be thinking about these reoccurring ideas and these social shows that you want to develop underneath your umbrella. So now let's get into the idea of actually building your show. There's 3 aspects I really want to focus on because a great show is the intersection of these 3 things. Number 1 being your narrative. This is the central idea that you want to form in somebody's head about you, about your brand, about your product. And it's key to understand this because you want to think of your narrative as the filters and the guardrails for all of your ideas. If you want to be taken as a very serious brand or a very luxury brand, then maybe you're not going to be doing very playful, on the street series content. You're going to be formulating an idea that is much more luxury, but that can be created and formed into a repeatable process. Because the show's central idea needs to be centered around how and what you want it to be associated with. Because association is powerful when referencing why we pick the brands that we pick, because it really comes down to psychology. Because we pick the brands that we see shared identities and values with. The third is scalability. Great social shows are great social shows because they have the ability to be scaled. Because if you only have the ability to publish 10 episodes max, then you only have a limited series, you don't have a show. So you want to create ideas that you can infinitely scale without changing too many factors. And the way you do that is by thinking in sets. Where I'm currently filming is a set, right? I could sit down at any point of the day, there's lights, there's a backdrop, there's a camera, I could press buttons, and I could film content right here, right now, at any time. That's the beauty of a set. For you, it's understanding how to think in sets, to be able to give you this reoccurring setting that you can film all of your episodes every single time, because this is what's going to allow you to scale your social show. So a good exercise is to take a mainstream show and break them down by the reoccurring settings within that show. Then start forming ideas within that reoccurring setting. That's really going to help give you that perspective to understand this framework of thinking in sets. For the 6th and final segment, we're going to start building your social show piece by piece. Number 1 being your narrative. This is the perception you want to form in somebody's head. You can't just formulate an idea for a show without understanding the narrative of your brand and the narrative of your show. Number 2 is association. These are the people, places, things, and products you want your brand associated with. If you're a luxury brand and you want to communicate luxury, then you want to associate yourself and your series with luxury products. So therefore, your show can take place inside of a Bentley. It wouldn't make sense for your show to take place inside of a 1980 Chevy truck. The perception that creates by being associated with those 2 cars are completely different. One is Western and one could be luxury. The third is the theme. The theme is the central idea or underlying message that connects all of the different stories. Number 4 is the idea, and in this case, it's how you package the theme. The 5th is the format, and this is how you deliver the idea. The 6th is the set, and this is where you deliver the idea. Number 7 is the characters, and this is who delivers it. Number 8 is the length, and this is how long it takes for you to deliver it. And number 9 is the art direction, which is the visual and stylistic identity in which you deliver it. These are all the elements to help you launch a successful social show. And take advantage of this window that's only going to be open for a short period of time before these larger brands start spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into this opportunity and really start closing that window a lot faster. And the next episode is even more important because in the next episode of this, I'm going to cover the frameworks, exercises, and examples that you can use to build, scale, and iterate a social show. And we currently have over 20 social shows in production right now for 8 to 9 figure brands. And what I'm going to walk you through in the next episode is exactly the frameworks and the exercises we use to develop these social shows that are going viral. So if you want that, be on the lookout. And if you want everything that I just discussed today broken down into a playbook that you can download and use for your brand, then click the link in the description and you'll be able to download it. And on the other end, if you want to work with myself and my creative team, and you want us to really develop and iterate and ideate and build a social show for you, shoot it, edit it, the whole 9, then there's an application link in my description. So if you want to work with us, just tap that link, apply, and book a call with us, and we'll get to it. Until then, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.